Lost on Lost Season 2, baby!
Hell yeah!
We've watched Seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Lost, and we've learned a lot.
Did we?
And we've learned to love Jack, Kate, Sawyer, Boone, and Claire.
Did we?
But now it's time for Seasons 4, 5, and 6.
That's right, we're still going to talk about the mysteries and mythologies of the island.
And obviously hot tropical hookups.
But now we're going to talk about things like the freighter,
The Others,
Charles Widmore,
The Lighthouse,
time travel,
9/11,
Ronald Reagan,
the Catholic Church,
Titus,
Gold Chains,
the military-industrial complex,
the Prison Industrial Complex,
the Void,
The Orb,
and so much more.
So strap on and strap down, because if you thought last season was confusing,
This is going to be so much worse. Or better if you like being lost on Lost. Strap on?
you heard me.
Ooh, welcome everybody to Lost on Lost. Hey, I'm JP Russell, and I'm joined as always by a man who always memorizes everyone's phone numbers, Adam Busher.
That's me, baby. I memorize phone numbers. I memorize important dates, people's birthdays. Your birthday, for instance, is May 19th, March 11th. Today is the anniversary. It's the 25th anniversary of Feeling Strangely Fine, Semisonic's 1998 album. That most of important dates, like I said.
Yeah, there we go. Did you remember that we have a guest?
Yeah, I did, sort of. I was thinking, we had a guest. And then I went to a place where we didn't have guests anymore. And then I came back, and the guest was still here. And so, welcome everybody back. Welcome him back to Lost on Lost. It's Jacob Oller, everybody.
Yay.
Sorry, I was stuck in the past there for a second.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I'm back. Sorry.
Your nose is bleeding.
Anytime my eyes roll back into my head, can you just cut to the live cam we have in the past?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'll pick it up from there.
Yeah.
The live cam is you in the library at your college, where you are furiously trying to write the paper that you wrote about this episode.
Yes, and I have a really crappy webcam recording me so I could send the file ahead of time to y'all so you could put it in the podcast.
Perfect.
Excellent. But that's no joke. Part of the reason that you're here is that you wrote some sort of paper, a term paper, a thesis, of something like that on the constant.
I did write a paper. I was taking a class from a professor named Paul Booth at DePaul.
Big shout out to Paul. We love Paul here on the pod.
He was teaching a class on time travel in media.
Okay.
And all the different ways it's depicted and how that changes over time and how that reflects how we as individuals and how our culture interacts with the concept of time travel over time. It was a cool class. It had a lot of interesting assignments, including to watch just a single episode of Lost, which was this one, without any context, and write a synthesis of it. You know, it was like a Tuesday, Thursday class. So I found the paper.
You found it?
Oh, I found it. It's in my Google Drive. So it was a watch on Tuesday, turn in 500 words on Thursday sort of situation.
Sure. Okay. What other time travel media did you cover in that class? Did you watch or have to watch other movies or episodes of television? Or
we did do some Quantum Leap, which is the only Quantum Leap I've ever seen.
Okay.
Which was fun. That was cool. Read a lot of short stories. So like Golden Age of sci-fi, everyone was like trying to figure out what time travel was really going to look like.
Sure.
Richard Matheson, who wrote pretty much every good episode of The Twilight Zone, he had a really cool short story called Death Ship. And it was these far future astronauts. They're on the military mission. They land on this planet and they find another ship. And they're like, what? But we didn't even know the universe was inhabited besides us. Like, this is crazy. First off, and then they open the ship up and it's their own dead bodies. And they're like, well, now that we've seen presumably our future, what should we do? And the whole rest of the short story is them arguing about how they can prevent this future.
Sure.
It's cool.
They should have just talked to Dan Faraday, because you can't change the future.
But you can change your haircut.
Got to get zapped by his beam.
Yeah, the beam.
His fucking egg incubator.
If you just get the oscillations correct, you can get hit with a beam.
Marty, it's your kids.
Marty.
You guys want to talk about Lost?
Fuck yeah, I do.
All right. We are talking about The Constant today, ladies and gentlemen. Widely regarded as one of Lost's best episodes, at least by the fans. The Constant originally aired on February 28th, 2008. 8. It is the 5th episode of season 4, and it is the 77th episode of Lost overall. It was written by our dear alleged monsters, Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse, alleged, and directed by local hero Jack Bender. These 3 guys do everything on this show, and it's not funny anymore. JP, do you have a recap?
I do.
Regale us.
Primer, I barely know her. Off the island, Desmond is unstuck in time. And off the island, but in 1994, Desmond is also unstuck in time. He's lost his memory. He doesn't know where or when he is. And his nose is bleeding. And if I've learned anything from time travel movies, that means the clock is a-tickin'. He must navigate his way through multiple times to find himself, find Faraday, and find Penny. Hey, Des, while you're at it, would you mind placing a few sports bets for me? Charles Widmore pays too much for an audiobook. Jack learns how to put a cell phone on speaker mode.
Hell yeah.
And Fisher Stevens is finally held accountable for his part in Short Circuit. I'll tell you, boys, my constant may not be a person. It's just a plate of pizza rolls and a room temperature PBR. Let's get into Season 4, Episode 5, The Constant.
Some real good foley there, JP.
Thank you.
No previously on. Was all ready to skip it.
Yeah,
wasn't there.
it's just right into this
They just drop you in.
Yep.
And let me tell you, as someone who had never seen an episode of Lost before, I was like, they strand you on an island, an episodic island. It's how they do it. They gave you runway for it.
No, not at all. But you're on a helicopter. You don't need a runway. Frank Lapidus, my new best friend, is flying the helicopter presumably away from the island. He's got Desmond and Saeed in passenger.
I love everything about Frank, man. He just wants to be listening to Jimmy Buffett and sitting on the beach.
The hilarious thing is we've only really seen season 5 and 6 Frank. So he's clean shaven. It's sort of like corporate Frank in season 6. And this is island Frank. This is chilling Frank. This is freelance Frank. Fucking
freelance Frank.
The beard, the ragged, like the Hawaiian shirt or the printed shirt, like it's just
yeah.
See, I was like, who let Lawnmower Man fly a helicopter?
He learned it from a disc, and he needs more discs. Desmond's looking at the picture of Penny as he's wont to do. He misses her dearly, and that's his one thing that he's got of her. He hasn't seen her in 3 years. Whatever. He was training to go on a race around the world to impress her or her father. He was just trying to impress somebody so that she would marry him. Not realizing that racing around the world in a sailboat would only impress like mega villains from the 1940s.
Well, but that's Penny's dad. That's Charles.
That's fair.
But yeah, they are going through a storm. Frank's navigating on a fucking post-it note that Faraday gave him that's kind of doing lots of backwards and forwards and, not really a straight line.
It reminded me of the post-it note that Will Smith puts on the dashboard of the alien ship in Independence Day, and he backs into the wall and says, I put it on upside down.
Put it upside down.
That's what happened. That's why he started phasing in and out, is because he put the vector on backwards.
Yep.
And we all know how stupid that is when you're flying a helicopter.
Yeah, so they're going through the storm, and Desmond starts to wig out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Frank's gonna fly directly into the Thunderhead, and while they're in there, it gets real shaky, real buck wild. Are they gonna make it? Whatever. Is there gonna be another mode of aviation that crashes here on Lost? And then in the middle of the storm, Desmond has we the audience are exposed to what we believe is a flashback.
Yeah.
I believe we are sort of familiar with the fact that Desmond did serve some time in the Royal Scots Regiment. So we're back in the mid-90s. He's in the barracks with the rest of the regiment. The drill sergeant, whoever training officer comes rolling. Everybody on your feet, except it's Scottish. So everybody on your feet. Oh, bloody right, crumpet.
Crumpet?
You heard me.
Yeah, the Scottish famous for their crumpet intake.
He's disoriented. Desmond is disoriented, so he kind of like drags ass. He gets smoked by the drill sergeant.
And listen, he gets smoked for getting up about 3 seconds after everybody else. I've been woken up like that before. It's fucking disorienting.
Even if you're not transporting your own consciousness back and forth in time 8 years. Just transporting your consciousness from last night to this morning is like...
It's unpleasant.
He has a surprising amount of, I would say, vulnerability and transparency with his drill sergeant in terms of telling him everything about his dream.
Yeah.
As though the sergeant were earnestly asking him.
Some guy screaming in your face, you were dreaming? And he's like, I was dreaming. It was really strange. I was in a helicopter. I was, to be honest, pretty scared. I was wigging out.
At least it was a military dream.
My drill sergeants did not appreciate when I tried to tell them my dreams about Sofia Vergara. It was, they also made me do push-ups though, so same result.
And the push-ups were difficult to do because you had an erection because you were dreaming about Sofia Vergara.
No, the push-ups were super easy.
They were easier, yeah.
It's like having a kickstand. Just a real short one. What was I talking about? We still don't quite know what's going on, but he basically plays it all off as a very vivid dream. So they all go out into the rain to go get smoked for a while.
Yeah. There is one big hint here that tips the hand if you are at a Lost aficionado. Do either of you, knowing that you're both Lost aficionados, know the big giveaway, the big tell?
No.
Yes.
Jacob, the floor is yours.
Because the drill sergeant was played by Graham McTavish, we know that they are both Scottish, and I believe that's the answer.
That is a great guess. Let's check the board. No. Before every flashback to this point, there's a sound effect. There was no flashback sound effect before him moving back to 1996.
Can we get a hit of the sound effect?
Sure, I'm going to drop it in right here in post. There was no sound effect in between the 2004 scene in the helicopter and the 1996 barracks scene, telling you that it doesn't tell you what's going on. It tells you that this is different, that this is a different type of flashback. That's the big tell. They get smoked out in the rain for a little while, and then they flash back to the helicopter.
And Des is like, what the fuck? He's totally wigged out now.
And Saeed is like, Desmond, my dear friend, who we've known each other for at least a month. What is wrong with you? And Desmond's like, I don't fucking know you.
You're not my real dad. Which not many people get to meet Saeed for the first time twice. And I got to imagine that's got to be a privilege.
What a lucky guy. That Desmond. The lost card comes up and we go over to Survivor Beach, where everything's still hunky-dory because it's season 4.
It's so fresh into season 4. It's basically season 3.
A lot like how like the early 90s were basically just like more of the late 80s.
Yeah.
Jack and Juliet are suspicious of Charlotte and Daniel. They believe that our new freighter pals are not telling them the whole story. I'm speaking to Jack and Juliet and Charlotte and Faraday now. I really thought we were over this, you guys. I really thought that after 3+ months on the island that we would have realized how important communication is. I'm not mad. I'm just a little let down.
I fucking hate Charlotte.
It was like a jump scare seeing Jack. Honestly, because I forgot and I was like, oh, this guy's back. And I was like, at least he's not in the constant. I'm not gonna have to see him. And then the one time they're back at the beach, he's like, wow, what's going on? Where are they? And I'm like, oh my god, it's him.
At least the time to Jack was after the opening card, but it was
like 4 minutes.
Yeah, so it's better than other instances, but you know, there are episodes where our time to Jack is 0. You know, so it's better than that, but still pretty low. Faraday explains to them time on the island versus time elsewhere can become distorted if Frank leaving the island doesn't follow Faraday's instructions to the number. Not that time on the island and time elsewhere is different. It's that they can become distorted in the interim between traveling from one to the other. They're not out of
the
sync.
act of leaving.
There is just there's like a barrier or a force field that can create distortion around them, and it's the traveling through in which distorts time, kind of like a prism.
Yes,
you know.
Or if you've been exposed to electromagnetism or radiation, things can get a little weird.
It can make it worse or better.
If Desmond ate like too many bananas before getting on the helicopter, that could have been real messed up.
The only way this could happen is if he was exposed to radiation or a huge amount of electromagnetism, and that's
has that happened to him? Well, he did make it. He did live in a house made out of electromagnetism for several years.
Cue the laugh track.
Yeah. Cut it back over to the helicopter. Desmond's like, I'm leaving. And Saeed's like, we're 2,000 feet over the ocean. Don't leave.
Calm down.
Saeed tries to get him to calm down, and they get through the storm. It's daytime now, and they see the freighter. The freighter, the origin of the helicopter, and Naomi and Faraday and Charlotte.
All of our new friends.
The fabled not Penny's boat. It is a boat.
Yes.
It is not Penny's. They land, and we meet some newer friends.
Yeah, fucking Kevin Durant shows up.
Yeah, and
a ship full of character actors. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Actually, is the USS Margot Martindale.
Well, they're doing one of those themed cruises, but it's everybody who had a bit part on every TV show that aired on a network in the 2000s.
I knew Kevin Durant from Stargate SG-1 growing up, and like he's still just in like every TV show, and he somehow over the years just gets taller and stronger, and it's kind of terrifying.
His face just pulls further and further back from his perfect scary teeth.
Yeah,
he's a dude named Kimi. I wrote down here he plays tough but nice. Like he puts on an air of authority, but he also doesn't start pushing people around. He starts calling Saeed my friend. He's like, look, my friend, relax. We're gonna take care of some things. We're here to help. We're here to help. But you got to listen to me.
Yeah, everybody on the freighter's being pretty cool. They're like, there's a lot going on here. We have your best interests in mind. We're not, like, no one's in handcuffs right away, but just, like, everybody just relax. We got to take care of some admin before anything gets explained.
Yeah. You get the impression that whatever's happening wasn't necessarily the plan. That said, we're still going to proceed. Desmond's still freaking out. He doesn't recognize anybody. He doesn't know what's happening. It's explained to us later in the episode that's because this is Desmond from 1996. This is not Desmond from 2004. That's why he's so disoriented. But during his disorientation, he flashes back to 96 again. They're loading a truck. His buddy Billy tries to just check in with him. Hey, man, I know you're crazy, but you're acting extra crazy.
Listen, that's just called basic training, man. Everybody loses it at least once.
He's way too old to be in basic training, which is the hilarious thing.
That's what they said about me.
He tries to explain what's happening, and then he's like, everything will feel better if I can just call my ex-girlfriend.
Yeah. The amount of times I've drunkenly said that.
That's how you know he's in basic training.
Penny's not your girlfriend anymore. She's Jody's girlfriend.
Yeah,
keep
here we
loading
go.
those fucking ammo cans, Desmond. He walks over to he starts making his way to the phone booth, but he flashes back to 2004 right away.
Where phone booths don't exist.
Kimi and Omar take Desmond down to sick bay, and they just sort of introduce themselves. My name's Kimi. We're from Fiji or Vegas or Florida. Florida and Vegas. We're from Florida and Vegas. We are the two worst people to be in charge on the boat.
We are now characters. We have backstories.
Yeah. We left from Fiji, which means we're still in the Pacific. Am I right? Daps him up. They take him into sick bay, and they're like, stay put. We'll be right back. And they close the door behind him, leaving him in there. Oh, the doctor will be here any second. Just chill.
Yeah.
Everything will be fine.
Turns around. Fucking Fisher Stevens is tied to a bed.
Yep. Well, good old Ben Javiri from the Short Circuit series franchise. It's happening to you too, isn't it? Is what Fisher Stevens says to Desmond. He recognizes the disorientation on the man's face. You're a man whose consciousness is unstuck in time.
If I had a nickel for every time.
Game, recognized game.
I hate Fisher Stevens' character in this, who is a explain the concept guy, but I'm also like the questions that he raises, which is, how did this dude get unstuck in time? What was he up to in the past? Because he's like, at one point he's like, I was just on a Ferris wheel. You're like, damn, dude, that sounds sick.
Because like him and some other jackass took a boat out because they were bored, and that guy just started acting insane.
They wanted to see the island, yeah.
The other guy died too.
And like immediately too. He's like, they were just out there and he started losing it.
Their brains aren't strong enough. It's all a little fishy.
I feel like I have a hard time focusing these days. Like, who knows? Maybe something happened in our past, like within the past 4 years, that has disoriented a lot of people and caused fundamental changes in how we interact with one another and, you know, how we go about our daily lives and all of that.
8-year time gap, we'd be sent back to 2016. Was 2016 a better time?
It was a different time. I don't know if it was
a very different time.
I don't want to think about it. On deck, Saeed waits and just kind of observes. He's in kind of soldier mode. He's reconning, like, okay, there's the decks. These are how many people are. Like, he's observing who's walking where and what they're doing, who's interacting with whom. Kimi and Frank are having a little conversation,
having some sort of argument.
He looks at the radar thing. There's a little thing spinning on top of the thing that he takes a moment to sort of take in, and then Frank makes his way over to Saeed to just sort of fill him in a little bit. But Saeed's questioning, why did we leave at dusk and arrive in the daytime? That was hypothetically a 20-25 minute helicopter ride.
Right.
What happened? Frank doesn't have an answer, I'm assuming, because I didn't write one down.
Well, I've never been in a helicopter, so I just figured it was normal.
Daylight savings.
Yeah,
done.
Exactly. But they're like, hey, tradesies, gun for phone. Sounds good.
Frank's doing his best, like, Josh Brolin impression, and it's actually working pretty good.
But that is the worst trade. I'm not trading a phone for a gun. Fuck that.
I don't know. Have you seen the new Samsung S24 Ultra? Sponsor us.
But if you have a gun, just take the phone.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not going to give you my gun. I'll give you 2 of my bullets if you don't give me the phone.
But then you'll never know what button you have to press to talk, and then you'll never know what button to press to hit speakerphone.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Jacob. Thank you.
I would have loved if Saeed would have just taken the gun and, like, pulled it out and then just thrown it overboard as, like, a fuck you. Like, now no one's got the gun. Kiss my ass. Give me the phone.
Saeed wants to call Jack. I couldn't fathom why.
Hey, are you still a piece of shit?
Yeah. How's the boat? It's super great. I'm glad you're not here.
Oh, let me guess, you know a lot about boats.
Jack puts the phone on speaker. He's like, hey, you're on speaker with Charlotte and Faraday and
being
Juliet.
so considerate. This is the turn of Jack. This is the moment where he starts thinking about other people.
Yeah.
Everyone says, hey, how's your weekend?
Yep. Yeah. Tell him I said hi.
Ask him if they have snacks on the boat.
Yeah. Faraday's like, oh, Desmond's acting weird. Has he recently been exposed to any radiation or a colossal amount of electromagnetism? And everybody just kind of like does one of those looks at each other and like grabs their collar.
Whackity, schmackity there.
None of us technically know it, but there's a huge electromagnetic thing that did cause us all to be here. We all have been hypothetically exposed to it. Faraday's like, that's probably not it. Is Desmond wearing a super fake beard right now? And they're like, yes. And there's like, that's probably the problem.
Yeah, does Desmond look patchy? Yeah, for sure.
This is a side effect of spirit gum.
Come back over to the freighter. The doctor, Ray, arrives and sedates Minkowski.
Fisher Stevens having one of those eyes open naps.
Yep. But yeah, he just like knocks him out. He's like, chill, take a nap. Can't focus on you right now. We've got a new problem. This guy's here and he's not nearly as close to death as you are. He hasn't entered what we like to call in the medical community the lost cause phase. So I'm going to try to minister to him. He's like, you're not jabbing me with any drugs. And Ray's like, are you sure? I'm just playing, bro. Here's a flashlight. I'm going to check, in the immortal words of Freddie Nick, I'm going to check your eye for stimuli.
He does a really good job kind of putting Des at ease again. He's not being like, fucking, I gotta experiment on you. I need your blood for time stuff.
Yep.
He's just like, I don't want to inject you with anything. I just want to check your eyes. Like, and he doesn't move toward him. He lets Desmond move toward him. It's very like respectful of boundaries. He's like, I understand there's some fucking weird shit going on here, dude.
Yeah.
I've been dealing with Fisher Stevens for who knows how long, and he's been telling me all sorts of terrible things. Reminding me about what life used to be.
Yeah.
The flashlight into Desmond's eye seems to, it appears to trigger a flash time consciousness jump, but it's not actually. It's just coincidence. Des is back by the phone booth. He gets into the phone booth. He tries to call Penny, and she reacts, I guess, the way you would expect your ex-girlfriend to react if you dumped her and joined the army.
Yeah.
Don't fucking call me.
Go away.
Sorry, we made this clear. You're dating Army now.
Yeah.
And you're not dating anymore.
An army is needy.
Army is jealous.
Yeah.
Frank and Saeed come down to the sickbay. They bring Desmond the phone.
Shove the doctor into a fucking locker.
But the doctor hits the panic button, and so they've just got a couple of moments here before whoever the goon squad comes.
Really weak sauce panic button.
Oh yeah.
No consequences.
Faraday is on the other line with Desmond. He asks him some questions. What time do you think, or what year is it? Where are you? I'm on a boat. Motherfucker, take a look at me. It's 1996.
It's party time, baby.
Yeah.
All day, every day.
Yeah. Sadly, Feeling Strangely Fine by Semisonic won't come out for another 2 years yet, but things are still okay. Dan says, we can sort this all out. Go to Oxford. Find me in 96. Here's a list of instructions.
Tell me all this nerd shit.
Yep. Numbers, Eloise.
Frequencies, hertz.
It'll be fine.
And serendipitously, this man makes it from army camp
North of Glasgow
to Oxford with no other sort of phasing.
He never flashes to him just like riding the train from Glasgow to Oxford.
I'm looking at Oxford University's website. I'm not seeing any classes on time travel, boys.
He was doing it in his off. This is the stuff Oxford doesn't approve
this
of.
Is the off the book shit.
This is sort of the off the Oxford stuff.
He's actually just the IT guy. He does like their social media page.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was getting real mad at some student for some, I will say bullshit, some real pretentious bullshit.
Yeah. Original versus derivative. This would be your opportunity to impress me. So go do it because you're not.
Do you think that was an academic conversation or romantic?
Ooh.
First one, then the other.
And follow-up question, do you think Desmond, seeing Daniel's hair, was like, I should grow my hair out?
That's the trigger.
He's like, I could do this.
Yeah. Desmond's at Oxford. He witnesses this conversation, goes up to him. Excuse me, are you Daniel Faraday? Of course I am. Look at my tie. Faraday doesn't necessarily believe him, thinks that his fellow professors are playing a prank on him. They're like, this is a pretty weak prank. I mean, come on. You could have time travel, time paradox. Oh, good one. Prank the physicist.
Well,
you
hired a disheveled Scotsman to come up and say crazy stuff to me.
Yeah.
But Desmond's got the info. 2, 3, 4, 2, 11 hertz, Eloise the rat, or your mom, whoever. And then Faraday's like, oh, shit. Okay. Yeah. All right, let's go.
He's like, you knew the right numbers. Who told you my secret numbers? And they're like, no. I know about the rat. And he's like, the rat told you the numbers?
Oh, man.
I haven't told the rat the numbers yet. I'm going to tell the rat the numbers in an hour.
Time travel is better than I thought. It makes the rat smart.
Yeah, they go to Danny's secret lab. It's got a maze and, an incubator and some all kinds. It's in some sort of castle-looking room. Like
this is just where they filmed the Desmond in the monastery scenes,
yeah, it's
right?
the same set,
It
right?
has to be.
So Eloise is the rat, puts the rat in the maze, zaps him with the time warp laser. The rat comes back and does the maze. Awesome.
Here's the thing. I think a rat could figure it out.
I was going to say, are rats smart?
Aren't they kind of known for figuring out mazes?
That's like their whole deal.
They love that shit.
I mean, if there was an arbitrary end point that didn't have like food or something and that only Daniel knew, he's like, I just set this in my mind as the end point and I'll tell it to the rat in an hour. That could have been made more clear, but instead we just see a rat follow a maze like we've seen in every rat maze pairing since Pinky and the Brain. And you're like, yeah, he figured it out. That's what they do.
That's what rats do. You take them out of a cage and you put them in a maze and they're going to maze that shit. It's amazing.
He can also climb over the walls. We saw it like lifting out of the maze.
He almost escaped. Or she almost escaped. Yeah.
Now, if he'd given the fucking rat, I don't know, like a Sudoku puzzle or like Crash Bandicoot 2, and he'd have fucking done that shit, I'd be like, holy fuck, now that rat has time travel.
I wasn't gonna teach the rat how to get that Mario Kart skip until Tuesday. I didn't have time. But look, he hit the boost right at the hit the ramp straight through.
Yeah. Or did some other mad scientist shit, like blasted. Okay, now that he's back, now that Eloise is back from time, I'm also gonna give him an overdose of ketamine.
Also, I love how Faraday's like, oh, I gotta wear the fucking bulletproof dentist fucking lead vest.
Yeah.
Desmond, you just stand back.
You just stand there. I do this 20 times a day. I hit Eloise with the beam. I try to teach her Spanish, and then it never works. She never speaks Spanish.
Duolingo fucking streak is awesome,
I run her through it, and then the owl is still mad at Eloise. So anyway, I've been through a lot of rats.
How come you don't put something on your head, brother? Hey, who's the scientist here?
Yeah.
I'm not your brother, pal, and this horn on the back of my head is going to add.
Go back to the freighter. Kimi and Ray don't believe in Faraday. They're like, why would you talk to Faraday? He's a nerd. He's a classic nerd. That's why we let him go to the island, because now almost all the nerds are gone. Minkowski's going to die, and Ray's like a pretty tough doctor, so he's not a nerd. Yeah. So we're almost nerd-free on the freighter here. So it's all good.
Wait till they find out Saeed likes radios. They're like, he's a nerd! Get rid of him!
They leave Desmond and Saeed in the sickbay. They lock him in there, and they take Frank to go see the captain. Minkowski recognizes Desmond.
Yeah.
He's like, you're Desmond?
You're the fucking
Desmond,
guy.
aren't you? When we got sent here, we were waiting for our orders, and on the radio, before somebody smashed it all up, if the caller ID ever said Widmore, comma, Penny, we were not supposed to pick up. And that means I know who you are.
I guess.
I had 1,000 questions about this.
Shoot, go for it.
Do ships have caller ID? Why, after viewing the episode, after Desmond gives Penny pretty explicit instructions about, like, this is what's going to happen when I call you. Anyway, deuces, I will never talk to you again except for in approximately 8 years. Anyway, bye. How does she get the boat's phone number? Dude. What are you talking about? Also, why wouldn't you just drop a crazy guy?
Do ships have caller ID is the sequel to Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, isn't it? Like, I'm pretty sure.
Does a boat have a phone? It's Philip K. Dick's least adventurous short story. What if a car had a GPS? What if a car could tell your wife you're cheating on her?
What if my toaster had TiVo?
What if you could? Yeah. What if you could watch Bladerunner on your smart fridge?
So in Oxford,
Yeah.
Desmond wakes up from a 75-minute cat nap.
Which Faraday's just like, fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh,
you're back.
Oh, neat. Yeah, you just went all limp. And I just started a stopwatch.
Yeah, and I just went back to my chalkboard because it's my only friend.
I was just doodling. You fell asleep and I started doodling.
Desmond's like, what happened to the rat?
Oh, Raz dead.
Rat's dead, man. What happened? I don't know. Brain aneurysm, probably. I'm definitely gonna do a rat autopsy later after you leave.
I don't know. The rat stood up on his hind legs, recited my social security number in Latin, and then blew up. Like, don't worry about it.
I just saw that rat speed run Super Mario Brothers 2, and then all of its blood poured out of its nose.
Faraday's like, I think that this will probably work. You're experiencing some sort of time displacement consciousness thing. It's gonna get worse unless you can find an anchor, a constant, something that makes sense to you both here and there. Your brain is sort of seeing double, and it'll bring it back into focus, and then we'll see time as a line again, as opposed to double exposed film.
Just go to the 9/11 memorial. The what memorial?
Ooh.
How did you guys find this explanation? Because the more I think about it, the more it makes me angry.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. No.
It felt like this guy wanted to sit down and be like, all right, listen, buddy. You're not going to die. You don't have a rat brain, do you, Desmond? And Desmond's like, no, I don't have a rat brain.
No, brother, I've got a hunk guy brain.
Brother, I got a hunk brain. He's like, so you know how math works, right? And he's like, I guess. And he's like, variables and constants, numbers and letters, ever heard of them? And he's like, I guess so. And he's like, well, think of it in terms of like a TV plot. And then think about something that might be in both times. And I'm like, this is so stupid.
Right.
The problem is the concept of a constant is contingent upon what two time periods the person is existing in.
Sure.
Say Desmond his consciousness was flashing between 2004 and a time prior to him meeting Penny.
Sure.
Suddenly, Penny's not his constant. It would have to be something else. So it's not constant. It's still a variable. It's variable based on what time periods you're experiencing.
Well, and it's not even as specific as like before he even met Penny. It's like it's contingent upon their relationship.
That too.
Like you have to know this person. The real thing is the constant. The constant is love, and it's like, oh, okay, everybody.
Because he says it got to be somebody you really care, or something you really care about.
Couldn't the constant be like the existence of the United Kingdom? I don't know. Like, what are you talking about?
Shit.
A lot of shit was the same 8 years in between.
Sun never sets in the United Kingdom. You know what I'm saying?
These days it very much does. Kind of just Scotland, Wales, England, Northern Ireland.
Yeah, no, you're right, Jacob. It is annoying and anger-inducing.
I get if you've watched 4 seasons. You presumably met Desmond before this.
Yes.
You presumably heard him talk about Penny before this.
Yes.
Neither of which, if you've just watched this episode, really make a lot of sense to you. Yeah. And so you are primed to come into this and go, love can be the way to unbreak your time-addled brain. But if you don't know or trust these two people, you're like, this motherfucker's done for.
Yeah. Again, if it's contingent on anything, it's not a constant. The entire point of constancy is that it's not contingent on anything. It's constant. It's in the word. They're at Oxford, the place where they invented words. That's the Oxford English Dictionary joke for you guys. I'll cut it.
That's pretty good.
The idea that, like, okay, you need to understand a concept or a person or a thing in both times. Great. There's lots of things that applies to. Mm-hmm. What is that functionally going to do?
How does that anchor you?
If they'd explained it in terms of triggers, not like hung up on this stupid math analogy that they're trying to use, but was like, well, if you can find something that was important to you in this time that is still important to you, however many years in the other time that you're in, if you can experience that same feeling, or if your brain can make that same connection in both times, that trigger will set that off. Or if you can experience maybe the different relationship that you have in these two times. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If they had tried to do anything around that could have made more sense.
They want to explain time travel, then explain to me why the constant will snap him out of this. Yeah. Like you got to give me the timey-wimey science bullshit as to, it's just, you got to find your constant. Why? What if he'd only gotten transported to like an hour before, like the rat, and it's just him meeting Saeed again? He's like, by the way, what's your name? Saeed? And he jumps back the other way. He's like, hey, are you Saeed? Yeah, boom, episode over.
Well, that's the fucked up thing, because they're like, well, the rat couldn't make, he's got a rat brain. Was like, that rat had only constants, idiot.
Right. Everything about that rat's life has existed its entire life. I love the maze, and the maze is right there. I saw the maze then. I saw the maze now.
I fucking love mazes.
There's that big guy who tortures me. That's my constant.
Oh, look, there's that big ray that he blasted in my eyes that gave me cancer. Sweet.
Hey, there's my cancer beam. My constant, my cancer beam. Oh, my God. Penny.
Yeah. I think Desmond really badly wanted his constant to be closing time by Semisonic, but again, Feeling Strangely Fine doesn't come out for 2 more years.
He couldn't do it. Yeah. He wanted it to be the Willennium, but it wasn't there yet.
We cut to the freighter. Back to the freighter. They bust loose. Minkowski's like, there's a smashed up radio. Saeed's like, point me to the radio.
I'm horny for fixing radios.
I got 3 coconuts in my pocket. That thing's gonna be working momentarily. But problem, we're still locked in the sick bay. And Minkowski's like, no, we're not. The door's hanging wide open.
You got a friend on this boat.
Oh, shit. And they're like, we don't have any friends. Desmond is stuck in 1996, and all my friends are on the island, and you're losing your mind. So we don't have any friends. So who is their friend on the boat? So yeah, they untie Minkowski, they bust him loose, they head to the communication deck.
No, they cut back to Desmond, who was passed out in like a fire stairwell.
Oh, yeah.
Which is my favorite shot of the whole thing. Just him just like, here we are.
He's just having fallen down the stairs.
That wasn't actually a time jump. That was just him as a Scot getting midday drunk and just soldiering on.
Daniel has a very good line of, it's like a throwaway line of like, be careful crossing the street. Yep. Yeah, I was like, that's good.
Yep. And then, going down the stairs, he almost eats it. So then, we come back to 1996. Desmond gets up from the stairs and goes to the British version of
Antiques Roadshow.
Yeah. And just like some rich folks doing a rich folk auction. The thing on the block is the ship's ledger from a little sailing vessel known as the Black Rock.
Oh, shit.
Jacob, stop freaking out. It's fine.
I was like, a little pirate story for me.
We know all about the Black Rock.
You know all about this pirate story, huh?
It's an olive ship, and it did a Fitzcarraldo, and it's in the middle of the jungle on the island.
I opened up the Constant Wikipedia page because I'm a professional. I like to be prepared for the podcast, Yeah. And they were at the auction section. They were like, big rich dad at an auction. I was like, cool. And they're like, a journal owned by Tovard Hanzo. And I was like, oh, Hanzo's got a link. Let me mouse over. And it just says the Dharma Initiative. And I just closed the whole
page. I'm a professional, but I'm not that fucking professional.
I'm a professional, but I respect myself.
Yeah, Big Daddy Warbucks, Chuck Widmore is there, and he's betting on the BlackRock ledger. He needs it for whatever reason, and he wins because he's got all the money in the world.
Yeah, he gets it for like, was it like $300,000? Ain't shit.
Yeah,
to him.
yeah.
I think he's just
like 300K.
380,000 pounds or whatever.
Oh, that's even
Oh,
less.
that's like $35.
Yeah.
And Desmond tries to bust in, and they're like, nah, this is invitation only. And he's like, well, how did I get this far?
I don't even know how I got here. Last time I checked, I was in Oxford, which is like an hour away from London. But I'm here now.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah. And Widmore sees me. He's like, oh no, my beloved daughter's ex-boyfriend. I got so much time for this dude.
I would love to hear whatever it is you have to say.
My boy, come watch me piss.
Yep. Come to the bathroom. I will pull out my joint. I will not offer you scotch. I will again feel superior. So yeah, they go into the bathroom. Desmond asks him, why do you hate me so much? And he's like, it's not me. Penny hates you. And I'm on Team Penny because I'm the world's greatest father.
Real
and
good.
anything my darling princess wants, it's mine to give to her. If she wants my hatred of you, she's got it.
She used to play with dolls. Now she only plays with pirate diaries. So I purchased them for her.
Desmond's like, look, just let me talk to her. And Charles is like, I will let you talk to her because then she will tell you why you suck. Here is her address.
The thing that I love is that Desmond has his little like pass out or whatever.
Yep.
And like the sink is still running or whatever. I just picture somebody like opening up the door and go to use the bathroom and seeing like a Scot just passed out on the floor holding a business card with an address and the water running and just being like, oh, these Scots, yeah, this is not my problem.
They're like, God, another James Bond scene played out in here. Moments of hope.
We cut back to the freighter. They're in the comms room. Saeed gets to work.
It's like, give me a fucking minute. This is a disaster. I'm going to need some time.
Yeah. Also, it's going to be pretty difficult to put this radio back together with this massive erection. George, I put here George dies ? But he doesn't.
He just kind of does a
He's going back and forth pretty quick now, so he's in and out. Desmond's nose has started to bleed at this point. When George comes back, then he dies. He's like, I can't get back, and his eyes bleed and all of it, and that's it. George Minkowski, we hardly knew ye. Thanks for coming out.
One last ride on the Ferris wheel.
But yeah, I go back to the bathroom. My only note in the scene before he goes to see Penny was that you can see his wig in the bathroom mirror.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, that little netting that's on you can
sure.
see, because the light is so bright and directly overhead, you can see right at his hairline the netting from the wig.
Gotcha. I was watching this on my phone, so
I was watching it on my smart fridge.
I was trying to watch it on 2x speed, but Amazon Prime does not allow you to do that. So I had to do the worst time travel of all, which is watch something at 1 second per second.
To be fair, I started watching this at home on my phone, and then we had to go to Kohl's, so I finished the last 5 minutes in the clearance section of Kohl's.
That's the first time that's ever happened with this episode.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Consummate professionals, all of us.
Constant professionals? Anyways.
Hey, there it is.
Yeah, Desmond just said, but my constant is being a professional, and then he immediately got back
fine.
together.
Just feels better.
Normal.
You got to find a constant. It's something that is important to you that you are fully committed to. And then Desmond's like, well, I'm always committed to the bit, so we're fine.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I'm committed to the liberation of the working man.
I'm committed to fucking up in the raw, and he pulls down his ski mask.
He goes over to Penny's new house and is just like, hey, I massively fumbled here. I'm now aware of this. My profoundest apologies.
He has these big cards that he goes through that he's got it all written down on.
To me, you are perfect.
to me, you are, in 8 years, I will call you.
To everybody, you're perfect. Sonia Walger, we all love you. And I'll just talk about this now, because this is one of those things where it's a trope that still exists in media, television, movies, books, etc., etc. It's the notion of big R romance.
Sure.
She turned me down. That just means I gotta try harder. Nah, brah. She turned you down. Move on with your fucking life.
Yeah, she's gonna mace you.
There are plenty of other fish in the fish place. He's like, I will call you back in 8 years. I'm sure by then you will have fucking calmed down.
She's like, don't even do that. That's creepy. I have to fucking hang with that over my fucking head for 8 years is waiting for you to call. Here's my number. Don't fucking call.
Yeah. It's all real buck wild. And yeah, real Love Actually cards creepy. December 24th, 2004, Christmas Eve. Baby, I'm going to call you, and I'm going to make your Christmas wishes come true.
Don't have plans on Christmas Eve in 8 years. I'm going to be busy, bro. I'm going to be asleep.
It's the UK. That's when we open presents. Like,
yeah, fucking Santa's already been here, dipshit.
Ridiculous. Cut back to the freighter.
Yeah, he's got her number now.
Because that's how time travel works in this episode. Here it is.
Thank goodness he remembers
7, whatever, blah, 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 blah.
5, yeah,
it's a London number. And so he's like, oh, I'll make sure to dial the London International. Shut up. Just give me the number.
Gotta get the extension.
Yeah. So he boops it in. He's just like, okay, here's the thing. It's running on a battery. We've got limited amount of time. So make your call. Make it fucking worth it. And then he calls. It's Christmas Eve at Penny's house. She answers. He doesn't say hello back. He just says, Penny? And she's like, Desmond?
Oh my God.
She's like, with time zones, it's technically Christmas Day here.
I stayed up all fucking night waiting for your call, and you let me down again.
This is crazy. I'm so tired.
She also lets it ring like 2 or 3 times. Like she's been waiting for this call for 8 years.
She was asleep. She pounded the milk. She pounded the cookies. She's knocked out.
Joking aside, this is the first time that Desmond and Penny have spoken in 3 years. And it's very, very touching. He got stranded with the sailboat on the island. He did the Radzinski thing. He did the Hatch thing. He did the EM thing. He did the nude explosion. He did the tie-dye t-shirt. He did the saving Charlie. He did the whole fucking thing.
When you put it like that.
Finally, he hears his lovely ex-girlfriend's voice, and she's been looking for him, and they make up, or they must have made up in the past. I don't know. I think maybe they were sort of like on the edge of making up before he did the tour to start. Whatever. This is all Jacob. You know what I'm talking about.
They talked?
But it's all very, very lovely. They don't pass any information back and forth other than like, I miss you very dearly and I love you and I love you and I love you and I love you. And they intersperse these cuts. I'll wait for you always. You're perfect to me.
Who won the Super Bowl?
Where are you? I'm on a boat. Great.
Thanks.
She's like, I spoke to your friend Charlie and I told him wrong boat. And he's like, I don't care about Charlie anymore.
Charlie? Who? Never. I have a new best friend. His name's Saeed. He's way fucking
cooler. He made
cooler.
this radio for me, and I'm going to kiss him a bunch as soon as this phone call's over.
Y'all gotta help me with this. So they have talked in between 90s encounter and this moment.
Yeah.
And at that moment, Penny didn't say, hey, still...
Remember 5 years ago?
Have it on my calendar, I guess.
Yeah. 5 years ago, 3 years from now, is that call still happening?
Any update on why you told me this?
I don't remember telling you that because I haven't been told to do that yet. The phone call reorients Desmond. His 1996 consciousness returns to where it was, apparently making room for the 2004 consciousness, which must have been stashed in a different part in Desmond's brain. Now that 96 Desmond is out of the way, 04 Desmond is back. It's all good. We're all fine.
And this is the first time that we cut between the time periods. It's not a crazy match cut.
Yes, yeah. Correct.
Yeah. We have a nice soft, 2 different people doing 2 different things cut.
Yep. The battery runs out.
Saeed's like, are you fucking better now?
Yeah. And he's like, brother, I'm perfect. Because, now it's fine. And that's the all we need to talk about. We can just end the discussion about the episode here. Right? That's the end of the constant. Oh, no. We got to cut to the beach.
Really bad lighting on Faraday.
Yeah. Faraday's flipping through his journal, and he's a little distraught. But then he flips to a page that seems to calm him down a little bit. In red pen, somewhere in the center of his journal of research, he has written, if anything happens, Desmond Hume will be my constant. And that makes him feel a lot better. And then we smash to black.
I wonder if that wasn't written in there before. It would have been cool if we saw the words appear.
No, it's because they're in love.
He wrote it in the 75 minutes that Desmond was asleep in his office.
Yeah.
After he spent 65 minutes just kind of caressing his face.
Well, that's why he had to flip the chalkboard over so quick, because on the other side it just says Mr. Desmond Hughes. A big heart bubble.
Yeah. Oh, Dan plus Des. Dr. Daniel Hume.
Yeah, double D.
The Constant. We did it. Well done, fellas. First question, as always. Did we like it? Was it good? You can like something that sucks. You can hate something that rules. Jacob, kick us off. What are your feelings about The Constant?
The first time I watched it, I was like, Lost sucks. This show's bad. And then I found out it was the most popular episode the show's ever aired. That goes a long way to showing what context can do.
Sure.
For a television program.
Sure.
Yeah.
I liked it more this time because I wasn't taking notes for grad class about the time travel in particular and whether or not it made any sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Instead, I was like, hey, this Scottish guy can act. And I liked the direction. I thought all those hard cuts were fun. I thought some of the gags were cute.
Yeah.
And you can mostly follow the dumb sci-fi start to finish in like 45 minutes, and that's pretty impressive. I'm softer on it than the first time I watched it. I think it's fine.
It's fine. All right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like JP.
Yeah. So I'm that person you were describing, Jacob, having seen a bunch of Desmond and being very invested in Desmond. So having the context, yes, I fucking love this episode. Super good. I love seeing Desmond do timey-wimey bullshit, TM. I love a story that has some stakes that makes sense, even if like the time travel doesn't make sense. In terms of this 45 minutes, we're like, here's what's on the line. Desmond's on the line. Here's his goal. He has to achieve that goal. We had a previous episode where Claire had to get her memory back, but whether she did or didn't made no impact on the greater Lost story or that episode.
Sure.
This, if Desmond doesn't fix his memory shit, we're gonna fucking lose Desmond. So like, yeah, we told a story and executed it, and it moves more of the Faraday plot forward and more of like the Charles Whitmore plot forward. So like, yeah, I fucking dig it. Adam?
I'm on the yes side of fine.
Okay.
Not a full-blown yes, and not a full-blown meh. Like, I give it a B. The best part about it for me was the Penny and Desmond reunion. It's a problem that Desmond has, and it gets solved by the end of it. And this is a problem that he has that only exists in this episode. It didn't exist before, and it doesn't exist after. So yeah, it's a bottle story. Like they go to like different locations, the freighter, the island, Oxford. It's not a bottle episode in location, but it's a bottle episode as far as story is concerned. This is a problem that Desmond has, and it gets fixed. Cool. Like I said, I loved the Penny Desmond reunion. That did so much heavy lifting for me. The rest of it was just like, okay, cool. Yeah, Desmond. Yeah, beep boop beep boop beep. We did some stuff. Neat.
Well, you can both be wrong.
We're both right because I'm yes side of my, and Jacob's fine. We're basically your answer.
Yeah, I said it was fine, and I don't even know these guys. I was like, just from the gags, I think it's fine. Just having a dude be like, at least it was a military dream. I'm like, all right, you're fun enough.
Yeah.
I don't need to know this grand love story. I don't even need to know who this pilot is.
Who are you?
It's good. We're good.
Next on the list, the Lost MVP, your favorite character of the episode, minus your context, minus your memory. Who rules the roost in The Constant? Jacob, kick it off.
Oh, Desmond does like some good stuff. He's really great.
Yeah.
He does like he's got some like weird highs and lows and like emotional nuance to go through all in like 40 minutes. And he's got different hairstyles. He's wet, he's dry. He does a lot of stuff in this episode.
Yeah.
He's really good. He's my constant. No, he's really great. Like this is I was very impressed by him.
Cool. Good answer. JP?
I wanted to make a joke about Frank, but I can't. It's got to be Desmond. It's got to be. For all the reasons Jacob just said, couldn't take my eyes off the screen, even when I was at Kohl's.
Nice.
Adam?
Yeah, the same thing you guys both said. Henry and Cusick does a phenomenal job doing all the stuff he's got to do in this. He makes Desmond magnetic, and you can't stop looking at him. Exactly. You guys nailed it. Desmond. Too easy. Flip side of the coin. Who's King Suck of Shit Mountain? Or King Shit of Suck Mountain, whichever you prefer. The Lost Forever, your least favorite character of the episode. Minus your memory, minus your context. Just this 45. The Constant. Jacob. Who did you hate?
This is gonna be controversial.
Okay.
Ooh.
It's got to be Penny. Have some self-respect, girl. Get out of there.
Wow. She ain't out here passing the Bechdel test. I'll give you that.
Somebody comes knocking on my door. I've already told him to hit the bricks.
You disconnected your number.
I disconnected my number. I moved. I didn't tell him my address. My fucking dad narked on me. And he's like, you gotta believe me. Give me a chance. Also write this down. 8 years, this number, Christmas Eve, this date, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, don't give me a job.
A task?
We're broken up.
Right.
We're broken up.
Unreal.
Don't give me an errand. Don't give me like a save the date for your bullshit.
Your dealer's clearly giving you fentanyl. Stop.
We're done. I'm gonna be getting dick down on Christmas Eve 2004. Get off of my porch.
Talk about Boxing Day.
Get out of here. I think that, I don't know. I'm sure with the greater context, it all makes sense and her decision's very romantic. But watching this episode, you're like, girl, who knows what your life is going to be like?
That's fair.
Don't commit to this fool.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. He couldn't commit to you. Exactly.
Yeah.
Why commit to him? Nailed it.
Don't ever show your face in this muse again.
JP.
Minkowski, shut up, just die. I'm wildly disinterested in Minkowski. Like, we already have Faraday, right? Like, find a better way to communicate all this shit. Because Minkowski was literally dead weight.
Minkowski is like the human version of when you're playing a video game and you find like 3 separate journals around an abandoned lab that explain like what happened to the scientists in the lab.
Minkowski's entry number 4.
All of those, but he's a guy. Yeah, he's like, day 1, I was on a Ferris wheel moments ago, but I'm back now. My nose has started to bleed. And then you find the other diary and you're like, well, things are looking bad for this clown.
Yeah. I'm replaying The Witcher 3 right now, and that's just, I just open all the books so that I can see if I get anything added to the bestiary, and then I close the book without reading it. Just
oh man, what if books worked like that in real life? You just picked it up and opened it. It's like, oh shit, my agility just went up.
fucking
Done with that book. I'm not finishing you 80-20 running.
Oops, I lawnmowered man myself again. I'm smart. I'm even better. Can't believe this happened.
Oh, God.
Adam.
Charlotte.
Oh, yeah. Fuck. I forgot she was in this. God damn it.
Her one thing that she had to do in the episode was to try and prevent Faraday from telling them that there's a time distortion problem, but she couldn't give him a compelling reason to not do it, and so he did it anyway. And so she might as well not even have been there.
Yeah.
No, excellent answers across the board. Penny, Minkowski, Charlotte, Lost Forever. Masterfully chosen and defended. Well done, boys.
Wow. Jacob, thank you for coming back. Do you want to, before you sign off, do you want to read the paper in its entirety, all 500 words?
I will say that I did get a little sassier than I remember in the paper, because I was reading it and I was like, I wonder if there's anything but good for the show. But okay, so it's a 500-word synthesis. And I say, I'm not going too deep into the plot because it's cruel to assign this episode for part of a 500-word paper. And I'm like, hell yeah, stick it to the man.
Let's go.
Good job, past me. And that in itself is a form of time travel.
There we go. Jacob, anything you would like to plug? What's going on over at Paste? Anything folks should know about?
I still have my job. Hey,
Good.
Yeah, it's pretty good in this media landscape. My goodness. Let's see. Yeah, media companies are dropping like flies. Paste Magazine remains intact and publishing 3 to 4 features, lists, or reviews about movies every day. And I
Holy shit.
Oversee it all. You can find that at pastemagazine.com. You can find me on Twitter at Jacob Oller. I got some cool video interviews coming up from South by Southwest that I did that'll go on YouTube.
Okay.
I don't know. Eventually.
Cool.
It could be fun to watch if you got some time.
Well, yeah, please. We've talked about it before. I started just initially clicking on Pay stuff to like make sure that you guys got, some more clicks. But then I found myself reading a shitload of articles and being like, oh, this is actually really fucking good. If you're into movies, movie news, deep dives on things, go check out Paste Magazine because there's some awesome stuff.
Jacob, thank you so much for taking the time and revisiting The Constant with us. It has been an absolute joy having you on the show all 3 times that you've been here.
Yes. Oh yeah, this is my Triple Crown appearance. Yeah. I love the show. I love being back. Love
Your sash is in the mail.
Chat with you boys. A sash. That's nice.
JP.
Yeah.
What are we watching next time?
Oh, man. Next time, if you want to be lost with us, we're going to be watching Season 5. Back to Season 5, baby. Episode 4, The Little Prince, starring Kate.
Oh, boy.
We're going to have a Lost on Lost newbie for this one. Kylie Hodges will be joining us.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I have a feeling it's going to be pretty good. Well, Jacob, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everyone out there, to listening to this episode of Lost on Lost.
Thank you, JP. I am Adam.
And I'm JP.
Do you have any idea what is going on this show?
No.
Me neither.
Lost on Lost is produced and edited by me and JP.
We wish to acknowledge that we live, work, and produce our show on occupied land.
Burbank, California is located on the traditional tribal lands of the Tongva, Chumash, Kizh, and Fernandino Tataviam peoples.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin is located on the traditional tribal lands of the Peoria, Potawatomi, Miama, and Ho-Chunk peoples.
And Lost was produced in Hawaii on the lands of the Kanaka Maoli.
Visit native-land.ca to learn more about the land you live and work on.
You can engage with us on IG, Facebook, and Twitter at Lost on Lost 1.
You can also email us at wearelostonlost@gmail.com or support us with dollar monies at coffee.com/wearelostonlost.
Thanks to Lostpedia and its community of contributors, Danny Schmitz, random.org, and as always, you the listeners for tuning in.
We're hosted at Podbean. You can hear us there or wherever you get your podcasts, except MySpace. We're not on MySpace.
Yet.